Tilo has left the market. I don't know why, but it's no fun when nobody comes to the market. All the farmers around here, everybody should come to the market. And when Bear River Farms doesn't show up at the market, it's pretty bad, isn't it? Huh?
Don't get me wrong, I love farmers markets. There's nothing bad to say about farmers markets as a consumer. It's a great place to hang out, it's a great place to meet your friends, it's a great place to socialize with people that you haven't seen for a long time. It's also a great place to have breakfast or a chai latte with a French croissant. However, there's a dark side to these farmers markets that nobody ever talks about. It's the farmer's perspective, and the main reason why a farmer like me is not attending farmers markets anymore. So there are some things that really suck. That is what this movie is about. When I came here 20 years ago and started farming, we did not one, we did 4 farmers markets. We did that for 7 long years. We did the Annapolis Farmers and Traders Market. We did the Bellevue Cove Farmers Market and the Digby Tailgate Market and the Halifax Seaport Market. See, this world is divided into 2 kinds of people. Those who can actually feed themselves and those who depend on somebody who is feeding them. Just 100 years ago, 50% of the people could feed themselves and 50% of the people were working in the trade and were buying from the other half, which was able to produce food. Farmers markets were exactly the place where those 2 parties could meet. The farmers were meeting the consumers and the consumers were buying the groceries from the farmers. Today, 99.5% of the people are depending on a third party to feed them. Now, shopping has changed. People do not buy in general anymore at the farmers market. They do their grocery shopping Friday night at the big box stores and then they go Saturday morning to socialize and meet their friends. And you can't blame them. It's a one-stop shop. It's convenient. In some cases, it's cheaper. There are shopping carts provided to bring all your stuff to the parking lot and load it into your SUV. And that makes it so convenient for most people to buy at the big box stores.
Hi Tilo.
Hey, how are you?
Good, how are you?
On the other side, the farmers markets are not really farmers markets anymore today. If you really count how many real farmers are at a farmers market as a vendor, you will see it's an embarrassing number. Now let me define what I personally understand as a farmer. The term usually applies to a person who does some combination of growing field crops and raising livestock such as cattle, pigs, poultry, and other domesticated farm animals. This is my friend Jeff McMahon from Longspell Point Farm. He's a farmers market veteran. You're basically the archetype of what old McDonald's farm seems to be looking like, right?
It's old McMahon.
Jeff, tell me, what do you grow?
We grow a full selection of vegetables. We grow our own grass and hay fed beef. We grow our own pig feed for our pigs. We grow free range turkeys and chickens.
How many farmers who have livestock and crops or garden are here at the Wolfville Farmers Market?
3 for sure, just 3.
A real farmer is also a person, in my opinion, who can make a full-time living of his farm operation and does not need any kind of off-farm income to sustain himself. Is that the only stream of income you have?
We do very little wholesaling, but we do a little bit.
So there's no one on your farm who has an off-farm income to support the farm operation?
No, only our 3 cottages that we rent.
Farmers are a dying species. Since 2016, Nova Scotia has lost over 25% of its farms. Of course, you have the industrial farmers. They have only commodities like 10,000 or 100,000 chickens. They have other ways of distributing and selling their products. Then you have the homesteaders, but they mainly grow for themselves and they have not the supply to go to a farmer's market. So tell me, why are you not going to farmer's markets?
Just too much work.
The closest to a farmer that you can find at a farmer's market today are the market gardeners. Those are people who mainly grow vegetables, but they of course have no livestock on their premises. What's your name?
My name's Rebecca McGinnis.
Okay, and you're a farmer?
I'm a farmer, yeah. I run Springtide Farm.
And what do you farm?
I grow mixed vegetables and cut flowers.
Do you attend a farmer's market at the moment?
Yep, I do. I attend a weekly market on Saturdays.
We grow mushrooms, microgreens, and mixed vegetables.
And do you have livestock in your operation?
No livestock.
I know they consider themselves farmers as well, but technically it is not quite correct because there is something very, very important missing on the operation.
We would like to incorporate livestock. The dream would be to get a piece of land and invest heavily into that, and also having animals to help with the nutritional value in the soil.
Gardeners are mainly supplying the market during the summer months, so they need an off-farm income to sustain themselves over the winter months. Can you make a living just by selling at farmers markets? Or do you have other streams of income that support basically the farmers market event?
Yeah, at the moment the farm itself has other streams of income, and I, as the farmer, also have other streams of income off the farm.
Both my partner and I have part-time jobs. We do have a dream that the farm would pay for us and sustain us.
Would you be able to make a living just off selling your products here at the market?
No. I thank the Lord every week that I have other avenues.
It's great that we have vegetable growers, so do not think I'm going to turn them down. It's just that I want to make the point that there are no farmers left. How many real farmers do you think are at farmers markets? Only 10% of the vendors of farmers markets are prime producers.
I would say maybe 10%.
Only 3% actually have livestock on their premises. That means that 97% of all vendors at farmers markets have nothing to do with farming. So why are farmers like I am not attracted to a farmers market? There are several reasons. The first reason is timing. See, every farm has a defined rhythm that is basically between the morning chores and the evening chores. And there are certain things that are coming back, they're repetitive, they come back every day. And if you have to be at the farmer's market, this rhythm is getting interrupted. The other thing is that you have to get up extremely early to supply a farmer's market with your products.
Getting up early in the morning is the best part. You got to get up and get early and get started ahead of everybody else.
I don't like the night before farmers markets because then I have to get everything ready and all the things I've got to label everything, I've got to wash everything, there's just a lot of prep work. I don't like getting up early the next morning because I stayed up late doing all that work.
Jeff, when did you get up this morning?
5:30.
So look, here's the thing. Let's say the farmer's market starts at 9 a.m. I have to be there at 8 a.m. to set up the table, fight with a canopy, put all my products onto the table. In order to be there at 8 a.m., I have to leave the farm at 7 a.m. Now, in order to leave the farm at 7 a.m., I have to pack the truck at 6 a.m. That means all the stuff that I want to sell has to be loaded into the truck. In order to pack at 6 a.m., I have to do chores at 5 a.m. Cows are still sleeping at that time. In order to do chores at 5 a.m., I have to get up at 4:30. Get up. So in order to be at the market at 9 a.m., the farmer has to get up at 4:30 in the morning. What time does your day start?
So if we wanted to be there to set up for 7, then we'd have to leave at 5:30 to get ready for 9. So I'm up at 3:30, 4 o'clock.
Say that again. You're up at what time?
Like 3:30 or 4 a.m.
See, this is exactly the reason why farmers markets suck, okay? People come here at 9 o'clock and think, oh, well, you know, the weather is not so nice, but, you know, people like her had to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to stand here at 9 o'clock. That's the problem. So now the market starts. And a farmer's market goes in 5 different phases. The first phase is the phase of the advantagers. They come between 8 and 9 a.m. because they want to out-trick The people who are the serious shoppers, which come early in the morning. So the advantages are basically those people who rip the stuff right out of your truck before you were able to put it on the table. Then in the next phase comes the phase where the serious shoppers are entering the market. That is between 9 and 11 a.m. That is the phase where every market vendor who sells products is making his cut. Then the next phase is the so-called tourist phase. This is the phase where the people from away are getting out of the hotel after they had breakfast, and because they have nothing better to do, they come to the farmers market. So that goes from 11 till 12. That is where a lot of socializing, browsing, etc. is done. From there it goes over into the lunch phase. The lunch phase goes from noontime until 1 p.m. and that is the time when the food vendors have their golden hour. That is the phase where the sales for the farmers and for the vegetable vendors are going slightly down. And now comes the dead man hour, which is the phase that goes from 1 p.m. to the end of the market. It's the waiting phase where everyone is waiting until the market is finally over. So as a farmer, you basically only have this time here where you can make serious business. The advantagers are coming before the serious shoppers because they want to outsmart them. Then from 9 till 11, that's where the people are coming with their shopping bags, who are actually really serious shoppers and buying the stuff what they need for the groceries. Then comes the tourist phase. Then comes the lunch phase, and last but not least the waiting phase, where everybody's yawning and hoping that the market is over soon. Those are the 5 phases of a farmer's market. The worst enemy of farmers markets is the weather.
That's John. We call him Tomato John internally. It's all what you got left?
But I don't have a greenhouse anymore, so I have very
you downsized.
Well, I got knocked out by an ice storm.
Farmers are used to be dependent on the weather, but farmers markets are a special case. See, when it's too windy, no one will come. If it's too cold, no one will show up. If it is too rainy, well, nobody will get out of his house. And if it's too hot, people are so exhausted that they are not in the mood of shopping. So a perfect market day is a sunny day in the lower 20s without any wind. And when we get lucky, we have these perfect conditions 4 times in a market season. So what happens at the farmers market? Well, there's almost a book of rules and regulations that you have to follow as a market vendor. It starts from where you're allowed to park your car.
I still drive my vehicle in here most every morning and unload.
Okay.
When do you have to be at the market? When your table has to be set up? How long do you have to stay? Even when you sell out your products, you have to stay in most market situations until the market is completely over.
They also have a rule, if you don't come to every market, you lose your table. So I came to every market all summer, and there was 4 markets when I had 0 sales, because I really had nothing to sell.
What do you think is the biggest uphold from people who have a product to sell them at farmers markets?
Vendors had the choice of becoming members and paying the members rate for a table, or remaining casual and paying the casual rate. Well, they've changed it so that everybody has to be casual until they're accepted by the board as a full-time member. And you can look at the market today and you can see how many vacancies there are. They just changed the rules.
Then there's a complete other set, and these are the health regulations. I'm not against health regulations. There are just a couple that are just make no sense to me. In order to sell eggs at a farmer's market, they have to be chilled down to 3 degrees Celsius. Usually you don't bring your refrigerator to the farmer's market. That means you bring a cooler. In order to have a cooler on a hot market day and make sure that you pass the eggs at 3 degrees Celsius to the customers, you have to technically deep freeze them before the farmer's market so that they are just at the melting point when you pass them over to the customer. Then the customer put these eggs into his backpack and walks over the farmer's market for another 4 or 5 hours at 25 degrees Celsius. There's no logic behind it. Elderly people prefer to buy half a melon because a big full watermelon seems to be too much to them. So that's why it was total practice 10-15 years ago that the farmer could take a knife, cut the melon in half and sell 2 half melons to 2 different customers. That is not allowed anymore. Today a melon has to be cut in a government inspected kitchen.
That is also a deterrent for young people or new farmers to get into it because there's so much red tape. And it can be incredibly challenging to get into that.
Another big thing is the music. I don't know why, but it seems to be a common practice that at farmers markets they always have a band and a musician playing, which is a great thing if the musician knows what he's doing.
Because I'm getting to be older, the noise level, it gets really loud and
You stand there for 5 or 6 hours and the band is just not good enough that you are not annoyed by it,
we only have good bands.
I have personally witnessed musicians who are playing an entire farmer's market empty. I have also witnessed exactly the opposite. So that means your sales are depending partially on the quality of the musician that is in charge that day. Let's say the farmer's market goes from 9 a.m. until 2 p.m. So you have 5 hours to sell your products. It is a cheap option to actually start selling your products because all you have is your table fee. You can generate the highest profit margin at a farmer's market because there's no vendor in between. It's a great opportunity for new market vendors to meet actually new customers.
Meeting all the people, that's another good reason to come to the market. So how do you meet the new people in the area?
It's where to find the open-minded people that'll come and want to buy organic produce, and the only place that we seem to be able to do that is at market.
And it is certainly a great place to test out your selling skills. Are you able to close a sale with your customer at the market?
Selling in the market situation was totally out of my comfort zone. Some people find it easier. I don't, so it's a lot of work for me. I'm selling the wrong kind of product because I'm selling something that's good for people. So it usually doesn't sell that well. So that's part of the
That's
thing.
the tragedy of every organic farmer.
Well,
it's not wanted what we are growing.
Part of the challenge is sales and marketing is the hardest job for a farmer to do. You have to engage with people, you have to be pleasant, which is, you're serving your customers. They deserve the best service possible.
In this time, in these 5 hours, you do a lot of talking to other people.
It takes a lot of energy interacting with people, which I like, but it's one of the hard ones to balance.
Another big thing is that farmers markets are completely unpredictable.
I think it's definitely unreliable.
One thing that most farmers struggle with is to know how many products they should bring to the market. Now, there are certainly people like my dear friend Jeff who seem to have figured that out.
It's quite predictable. We know how many bags of 2-pound carrots, 5-pound carrots, squat, I would rather bring a little too much and not sell out, so that people don't come and I don't want them disappointed and say, I'm not coming to the market next week because they never have anything left when I get there.
But most farmers are really struggling with bringing the right amount of product to the market.
It's very hard to plan and organize when you don't know how much you're going to sell.
And that has several reasons. The customer base has changed in the past 100 years. People don't cook anymore the way they used to cook. People don't eat as much anymore as they used to eat 100 years ago because they're not physically working anymore as hard as they used to. And then there's certainly another point that those people who are interested in healthy farm fresh food often have their own vegetable garden and grow their own food. That's why they don't buy at the farmer's market. The tourists that are coming to a farmer's market, they already had breakfast, they maybe have a snack for lunch, and they go out for dinner. So there's no reason why somebody who's staying in an RV or somebody who is staying in a hotel should buy vegetables or meats or any other kind of food products at the market. And of course, your regular customers don't show up every week because maybe they have friends over, they go away, they went into their cottage for the weekend, or they have just other plans. So you stand there with your products depending on the sales of your regular customers, and they just don't show up because they maybe even have products from last week left.
One thing is the inconsistency of clientele showing up. Sometimes we can bring a whole truckload of produce and it will sell out. The next week we could be bringing half of that produce home, so it is quite challenging for consistency wise in sales.
Another thing is that when you have carrots, all the other vegetable vendors have carrots at the same time. It's just because they ripe at the same time. When everybody has eggs, let's say in May, because the chickens start laying like crazy, there's an overflow on eggs at the market. There are less people buying eggs in May than they buy in July, August and September, but there are less eggs available at the market in those months. All of a sudden you sell out your eggs at 8 o'clock in the morning. The curve from the chickens laying eggs is exactly the opposite from the consumers coming to the farmers market. Another problem of these farmers markets is that it is a limited customer base who is actually willing to buy fresh products at the farmers markets. There's only a certain amount of people who are interested to buy burger meat at that day. And now these couple farmers who are actually left and going there start competing and fighting against each other.
Since COVID, things are less and less predictable because everybody has a stricter budget. So that's one of the worst things.
Of course, people know the prices from the superstore and they compete, let's say, the vegetable or meat prices from a vendor with the prices that they pay at the superstore. Which is basically impossible to compare that because it's, well, I don't even want to go into that.
It's hard. It like really hurts when people combat you on your produce. Like when they're like, "Ugh, that is this price?" And you're like, wow, I worked really hard for that. If that hurts your feelings a bit.
And last but not least, most people don't even know what to do with all these vegetables that are offered at farmers markets.
Sometimes it's your turn and you have a good market. Sometimes you don't and you come home with all this stuff that you have to find a different way to use and you're tired.
Oh, it depends on what it is. Like this time of year, some things have longer storage, like tomatoes, peppers. They can keep for the week and I'll try and wholesale them through the week. Some things I'll make stuff out of. I can dry a lot of things, like mushrooms I'll dry. And then greens just are composted usually, yeah.
Now, 2 p.m., you take everything down, the entire canopy has to come down, the table has to be cleaned out, everything has to go back into the truck and you drive home.
Lugging everything around, I guess. You know, the big setup, big teardown.
You're at the farm at 3 p.m. By 3 o'clock, you are already 11 hours and 30 minutes on your legs.
And you're tired and you just want to have a nap, but the cows got out and the sheep got out and the fences don't work and it's a lot of work.
So the farmers market is the end of the week and it's a very long day. And so to end a very busy week with the farmers market is exhausting.
So you're so exhausted from all the talking you did at the farmers market. All you can do now is unload, and then by 4 p.m. you're gonna have your well-deserved nap as a farmer to basically recover from everything that happened since 4:30 in the morning.
I'm home by 4:30
And what do you do for the rest of the day?
and I'm tired out, so I rest.
You're completely knocked out until, let's say, 6 p.m. when you do chores. The customers who are coming to the market only see you there these 5 hours. They do not see anything what happens before, and they do not see what's happening after the market.
Are you exhausted after the market?
I'm exhausted. I could rather work 12 hours in the field than doing a market.
It's a culmination of a busy week and then this intense 5 hours of dealing with customers.
You were basically on your legs for 12 hours. The question is that really worth it?
Sometimes it's not worthwhile.
I feel bad for young people who are getting into farming right off the get-go because the initial establishment cost is incredibly high now. So high that I'm not too sure if a small farm could service that debt just by going through farmers markets.
It is almost impossible to make a living by just selling at a farmer's market.
The only reason I'm still farming after 20 years is I have a CSA. If it hadn't been for the CSA, I would have given up many years ago. So it's a balance.
So the point that I want to make is that farmers markets are not really farmer friendly. I love doing the farmers market, don't get me wrong, but there are just smarter ways for us to sell our products. Hello, I personally prefer to deliver into stores. But the biggest thing for me is, and what I appreciate the most is when customers actually come to our farm. Every customer who comes to my farm to buy straight from me comes here only for one reason, because he wants to buy from our farm. I don't have to stand at the market for 5 hours. I don't have to build up a table. I don't have to put up a canopy. People come here, they get their stuff done.
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Come back anytime. So, and when you're a consumer and you go to the farmers markets, go there for the right reason. Buy from the farmers. Go to the vegetable farmers. Go to the primary vendors there. They might not show it, but they definitely need your sale. They have the freshest products. Most of the time they were picked a day before or the night before the farmers market. You can't get it any fresher. Support the local growers and farmers as long as we still have some here to actually make products for you available. Have a good one.
There's nothing wrong with the market. If I didn't like it, I wouldn't come.
Yeah, I do actually enjoy going to markets. I think it's nice to have that relationship with customers and to be able to build community, connect with other farmers and the other folks that are vending at the market.
I can't jock on farmers markets. It's how I make a living.
So why don't you just quit coming to the market?
I love the market. I love coming here and talking to people.
He's doing farmers market for how many years? 22 years.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And how long will you make it until you die?
Oh yeah. Yeah.